Welcome, everybody, to episode 3 of the New Breed Podcast. I am your co-host, old school Browns fan and just a general fan of the Browns forever, Michael Mitchell. And this is my co-host,
Grady Mitchell. I am a New Breed of Browns fan. Love the Browns, man. Let's go.
So we have to apologize. We were kind of a day late on the upload this week because somebody turned 13 yesterday.
Happy birthday!
That's all he's got. I get a head nod. I don't get anything else. That's it. Okay. So with that, we thought that it would probably be best if we gave you how awful we are at picking games. Let's just call it what it is. So we both picked games on our last episode, and we were both horribly wrong. Actually, it was more like the complete opposite of what we picked is actually what happened. Now, do you want to go first and describe your picks and then how it actually went down?
All right. So for the AFC, I had the Bills 32-27. I was wrong. It was 24-38 Chiefs. That was way wrong. And my Packers Buccaneers game, I had 35-20. Real score was 26-31 Buccaneers. So it's Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
The GOAT versus the kid, as I've been hearing it called. Because a baby goat is called a kid. So
yeah.
The GOAT and the kid. Anyway, I did not fare any better. My picks were absolutely horrendous. And again, absolute opposite. I had the Bills winning 35-30, and it actually was the Chiefs winning 38-24. And then I had the Packers 34-17, and it actually turned around the other way. It was 31-26 Buccaneers. In my defense, and I'm going to say this, and I thought about this today and yesterday, I can't remember before the playoffs started the Chiefs defense looking like they've looked over the last 2 games. They looked really good against the Browns, which I was surprised by. And so I really wasn't believing what I was seeing. I thought, well, they'll come back to earth. Maybe our offense just wasn't ready for the moment. And maybe the Bills are a little bit more high powered and they can do it. And yet it seems as though the Chiefs defense is in last year's Super Bowl form already. And I'm not even sure how or why. I literally watched that game and I still don't know how they have done that with what they've got. Same way with the Buccaneers and the Packers. I thought for sure home field advantage, Aaron Rodgers. And to see the field goal attempt when they were down late in the game, I thought for sure you go for it on fourth. You put the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hand. And he even said that he probably if he knew they weren't going to go for it on fourth down, he probably would have tried to run for the touchdown. And I have to believe that. I have to believe that that's the way that went. So I don't know if we should pick the Super Bowl or not. I imagine that we will pick the Super Bowl, but I'm not even sure that that's going to be right. I can imagine I'm going to take Tom Brady because why would you pick against Tom Brady? But then, Patrick Mahomes is going to show up and blow the world away. Or we go, oh, Patrick Mahomes and that offense is too much, and then Tom Brady's going to be Tom Brady. And so I think it's a toss-up. I think you can go either way with it. What do you kind of your pre-pick of the Super Bowl?
Well, I kind of think that the Chiefs are going to win. I think they're going to go back-to-back Super Bowls. But I've heard a lot of speculation. I mean, of course, it's the NFL, so everybody's blaming those championship games on the refs. I saw a Chiefs player punch a Bills player and nothing happened.
No, they had offsetting fouls called.
Really?
Yeah, I literally saw that live. Like they offset. Like he called like 13 personal fouls, and then It wasn't 13. That's an exaggeration, but he called all those personal fouls and then it was offsetting and they replayed the down. I don't even understand why you do that. Why do you even call out the flag at that point? But and so you hear me say this a lot when I'm watching defensive backs. I totally dislike the use of hands. The way I was always coached is if you can play defensive back with your feet, you don't need your hands except to catch the ball because you're going to be right where you need to be because your feet are in the right spot. So I saw, especially in the Packers and in Buccaneers game, a lot of grabbing. There was a lot of hands. There was a lot of hands all over the place. And I guess that's just technique that they're teaching now. I don't know. But for me, I remember a time as a Browns fan when we had so many penalties called. I remember a picture, and I don't know if it was in the Plain Dealer or where it was or the Beacon Journal, but they were practicing at practice, and they had these mittens on the defensive backs in practice so they couldn't grab, like trying to teach them not to grab. And now we're like, let him grab. And then that way the referee, if he wants to call it to change the game, he can call it. If not, he's not. But yeah, the one interception by the Buccaneers was a blatant pull of a jersey, which literally put him in front of the receiver so he could catch the ball. I still don't know how that goes, but hey, I've said it before and I'll say it again, and you can take this with you. You do not put an outcome of a game on the referees, because if you were doing your job and you were playing the game and executing the way you're supposed to, those calls don't matter because you're blowing the other team out 35-10, right? That's personal opinion. That's my personal opinion. What do you think? Do you think we should make picks next week?
Yeah, I say we do on Saturday. On Saturday, we predict right before the game.
Okay, I can see that. We'll do that. We'll run it down. Maybe if I may just throw something ridiculous out there too, right? Just to see if it sticks on the wall.
Yeah, just to see if it's right.
For those of you that are on YouTube, you're getting a treat. You're getting an absolute horrific display behind us. We have none other than TJ Ward and Brady Quinn jerseys behind us, and you are in for a treat. Those of you who are listening on Spotify, iTunes, or Google Podcasts, or any of those other places, if you're listening, thank goodness you do not have to see that. But we have some history behind us, and it's not necessarily great history. So with that, I think it's time to move to recent headlines. Here are your recent headlines in the world of football. Not a lot of Browns news, which is okay. One of the best stories came out just today, and I absolutely loved it. Washington football team's Jennifer King becomes the NFL's first full-time African-American female assistant position coach. I love it. She's a running backs coach now, and I love it. And I love even more what Ron Rivera said. Coach King is well deserving of the promotion to assistant running backs coach. She came to Washington eager for the opportunity to work as a full-year coaching intern and learn from our staff. To me, that is how you make this work. That is how you make this happen. The Browns have their own invaluable female on staff. She was absolutely chief of staff and making great strides. Took over for two different position coaches because of COVID. I think this is a great direction.
All right.
You got something?
Yeah. I saw something today. TJ Watt is not happy with the Steelers. He said, I saw something and it was quoted. He said to send his resume to Wisconsin. So we could be seeing TJ Watt for the Packers this year.
I saw that, and basically there was a writer, I think, who and I don't want to say the name even if I can remember it in my head right now, but he put it out there that TJ Watt whiffed on his exit interview and just said, send the questionnaire or whatever to Wisconsin. I'm going home. And he fired back on Twitter and said that, well, I guess his sources are really good because they obviously didn't talk to me and they didn't talk to the 3 coaches that I met with in my exit interview. And so even after that, though, this writer comes back and goes, well, my sources aren't wrong. And I'm like, he's TJ Watt. He was there. He knew he was there. I heard Joe Thomas had a comment for that on Twitter today too, and he said that it's okay. A lot of guys do this, as long as it's not upsetting anybody in the Steelers organization, it's not a big deal. And so I thought that was pretty funny that story came out. Another story that we had was Bills wide receiver Cole Beasley revealed that he played the playoffs on a broken fibula. Now, granted, it wasn't like complete fracture, like complete. It was just a slight fracture. But the dude had a broken fibula and played through the playoffs.
And made it to the AFC Championship.
I remember Cam catching a pass or two the other night and thinking, man, he's doing pretty good. And he's got a broken fibula. That's ridiculous. One of the great tight ends, Greg Olsen, announced his retirement from the NFL after 14 seasons. You could kind of that writing was kind of on the wall. I don't think he had a lot of years left after he left Carolina. And
Phillip Rivers announced his retirement too.
Phillip Rivers last week announced his retirement. So a lot of good veterans announcing their retirement.
Legends go.
Also in the news, we were obviously a little bit behind on this. You probably heard this one 100 times. Matthew Stafford and the Lions are going to part ways, whether it's trade, whether it's release. They are not. He will not be a Lion after 12 years in the league. The Lions are saying goodbye to likely one of the better quarterbacks of the last 12 years. To not make the playoffs or go far, even to a Super Bowl. I was reading a lot on this, and unfortunately, the Detroit Lions, they've got the rap for being a place that wastes talent. Barry Sanders, Matthew Stafford, Megatron, just a place where people just go to disappear and end their careers. And I think that I hope Matthew Stafford catches on. There's a lot of talk about Indianapolis. Maybe a little talk about Chicago. Can you imagine him getting a chance to play Detroit twice a year in Chicago? That'd be pretty impressive. Do we want to talk about the Texans?
Man, that whole thing is just crazy.
If I am a free agent, I am not even sure. I tell my agent, no, nothing Houston. I am not going to the Texans, nothing Houston. They're still searching for a coach. I don't even understand how you can still be searching for a coach. I mean, there's a lot of great names that are still on the board.
He just played a whole season.
Right, and I think that what we're getting now is that it doesn't matter who the coach is. Deshaun Watson's likely not going to report. So I think as an organization in Houston, you've got to you're either going to have to try and keep Deshaun Watson and keep him happy, or do something to make amends, or you're going to have to call his bluff. You're going to have to call his bluff and be like, hey, I got nothing. You're under contract. You can come play with us, or you can sit out. That's your call. I don't think, and I feel bad, and I know I was listening to the Locked On Browns podcast, and they made mention about the market and how thank you to the Seattle Seahawks for making a ridiculous offer of 2 picks for a safety in Jamal Adams. Well, what do you think Deshaun Watson's going to require in a trade? Because I can tell you right now, if I'm Houston and I know the market that just happened with Jamal Adams, I'm getting 2 number ones at least for Deshaun Watson.
I saw something. Somebody said that he's ranked so high that somebody will even need 3 first-round picks just to pick him up.
I can absolutely see it. Now, is it logical? No, it's not. And if I'm a team, I especially if I've got a higher draft pick this year, I'm not giving up a number one. I can take Trevor Lawrence. I can take Justin Fields. I can take Wilson. There's a list of quarterbacks that I can take who are younger and aren't going to cost me additional draft picks. And I don't think it's going to be logical. I think you're going to see Deshaun. He's going to hold out. Nobody's going to want to come up with the space that's necessary to take him. And I think he's just going to hold out. He won't play next year. Just my opinion. Just one guy's opinion.
I don't think he'll hold out, but I don't think he'll get signed by anybody else. I don't say anybody will sign him, and then he just re-signs back with the Texans. Plays one more season. I think they'll probably do better than they did this year.
I hope that for him, because he's a great talent. He's a great quarterback. That does it for our recent headlines. So now we're going to move on. We're going to move on to talking about free agents. We talked about the last episode. We kind of talked about our free agents, who we thought would stay, who we thought might go. The more I'm listening to different sources, the more I'm feeling like Larry Ogunjobi will sign back. You've got, and I didn't know this, I was again listening to the Locked On podcast with Pete Smith, and they were talking about the basic depth. Like, we have 11 offensive linemen on roster. Some of them opted out due to COVID, and so a lot of them are coming back. Drew Forbes was one of those who could play a key role, and I know some thought he could have even beaten Wyatt Teller out for that spot at right guard. But I think that, we kind of gave our 2 cents. I don't know, and I have to agree with them. I don't know that we're going to spend a lot of cap money. It's going to be touch and go for us, because we want to keep a lot of that cap space that we have, because it's a good bargaining chip. I don't know, and I laid out this big list. I laid out this list of free agents that might be attractive, and I don't even know that we're even going to go after free agents. I don't know. I really don't. I have to think that we need if not a speed receiver that can take the top off the defense, then you got to have at least a big body receiver. Maybe you line Harrison Bryant out. Maybe you line Njoku out in different sets to take advantage of big bodies against little bodies, especially in the red zone. I'm still trying to figure out why we never took advantage of Donovan Peoples-Jones more in the red zone on mismatch. Guy 6'2", 212, can jump higher than probably anybody on the field. And I'm not even sure that I care who you're lined up against. The guy had a 43-inch vertical at the combine. I mean, this is nuts how high this kid can jump. Let him have it. Let him go get it, right? He's got great body control. Hopefully Donovan Peoples-Jones kind of comes into his own this next season. I get it. He was a rookie. So I understand that. Free agent wise, one of the targets possibly for the right money, maybe adding depth to the D line, but that would probably only be if Larry Ogunjobi doesn't re-sign. You're going to get Andrew Billings back. He opted out from COVID, so he's going to come back. So you're looking at Leonard Williams, possible fit, veteran, run stopper. He's in the 86th percentile. If you go to PFF, his run defense grade since entering the league, roughly playing the B and C gap, has been decent. He graded between 70 and 82 most of his career. So not a high grade, but not a low grade either, right? He's up there. Wide receiver. We potentially, if we don't resign Rashard Higgins, which I know some guys are saying that he's not going to resign, he can make possibly $12 million by signing with somebody else. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. I would love to see Rashard Higgins come back. He knows the system. He works well with the other three, the other, 2 or 3 guys that we have that are consistent. We already said that Carter Hodge is probably not a guy we bring back. Donovan Peoples-Jones is still on rookie contract, so he's obviously going to be there, returning punts, possibly returning kicks. Wide receivers to look at. If you want a guy that can take the top off and not spend a lot of money, I don't know how much you would have to pay, but Corey Davis from the Titans, Marvin Jones Jr. from the Lions are just a couple. I don't know that Alan Lazard's more big body, but I think that I don't know that he really gives you the over the top of the defense mentality at that point. So I'm not even sure you would sign any of those guys in there. And then we got this conversation that we have to have about edge rusher or defensive end. And so I had mentioned and kind of picked out, because might be affordable, Hassan Reddick, if the Cardinals don't re-sign him, could possibly be a fit. Once you moved him into a 4-3, defensive end position, the Cardinals really saw the performance level increase. He after he made that move, because he played outside linebacker in a 3-4, and it just wasn't quite the fit. I think he's too big bodied for that. And I think he actually improved. He had 5 sacks, a 97.1 pass rushing grade in week 14 against the Giants, and basically just kind of went off. I think you've also got to see how Olivier Vernon's doing. Is he going to be, ready to go at camp? Is he not? Depends on how, horrific the injury is, and if he'll ever return to form. So I think you've also got to look at that. We've also got an idea, and potentially, I don't know that it'll happen, but you could draft. I know Pete Smith loves him some corners. He wants corner, because we're going to have to stop the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens in the coming, next 5 years. So we've got to load up on the back end and get speed. And I agree with that totally. But I think there's other positions. I don't know that Pete doesn't really value linebacker that much. I think we value linebacker a little bit more. I don't know that we've got the skill or speed there right now. Jacob Phillips can fly. Mac Wilson can run when he needs to. But outside of that, I'm not sure we got a lot of speed guys at linebacker. That being said, you want to move into our first mock draft?
Yes.
All right. Our first mock draft. This is the new breed mock draft version 1.0. So we have to start by saying that we made a trade. For those of you that want to do your own mock drafts, go to fanspeak.com. We use the On the Clock basically webpage that you can go through. You can set all your pieces and parts the way you want. You can draft 7 rounds, 2 rounds, 1 round, however you want to do it. You can use different big boards, different rating systems, all of which usually change over time, because these guys, you'll finally get numbers and things on these guys here pretty soon, and things will start to change. But again, without a real combine this year, it's going to be hard to really get raw data, especially for guys like us. We're out of the loop. We're just a bunch of normal schmoes. And so I don't know that we do. So we made a trade. We traded Minnesota Vikings. We sent them a 3rd round pick, our pick 27. We got back from the Vikings 2 4th round picks and a 5th round pick. Loaded up picks on the back end. And I thought that worked out pretty well. We kind of played with it a little bit and see who was falling where, kind of who's big board, who wanted to do what. And I don't think this is going to happen. I'm going to phrase it there. Grady, who fell to number 26, and who did we take in the first pick?
Defensive lineman Kwity Paye from Michigan. He is an animal. He can do it all. He could probably lift me and him, both of us.
I don't know,
at
pretty
the
fat.
same time. Well.
I bet he could though. I bet he could though. I mean, the dude could hold a 200-pound kettlebell in his hands like this and do a one-legged squat. So I'm pretty sure he's strong enough. One of the ironic things, and again, let me preface this with, I don't think Kwity Paye is falling to number 26. If he has any kind of workout, if there's any kind of scouts there, he's going top 10 because the kid's a freak and he's huge. The craziest part about this, we looked up his statistics. Now, this is fresh off the internet, so it could have been whenever. Do you remember the stats? His body, his height, weight. What was his height, weight?
Wasn't he 6'4", 271?
6'4", 271. We looked up right after that. We looked up 95. Myles Garrett. What were his stats?
Oh, he was 6'4", 271.
Incredibly crazy. Maybe God will be good to us and let Kwity Paye drop to 26 so we can take him at 26. I mean, I would love people to pass him up. He was kind of dinged up there at the end, but I hope that he's probably all good and healthy now. That would be great if he was available at 26. I would love that pick at 26. To have a younger Myles Garrett beside Myles Garrett, man, that pass rush could be deadly. He's also proven on tape that he can stop the run too. Now, Pete Smith is not going to like this pick, and I know some people aren't going to like this pick. They don't think we need linebackers, but who did we take round 2, pick 27, Grady?
Linebacker Zaven Collins.
Again, I don't think Zaven Collins is falling to round 2, pick 27. That would be pick 59 overall. I think if there are people that need linebacker, they are not passing up Zaven Collins unless there's something I don't know about. Kid's a great athlete, 6'4", 240-something, can fly, has an 80-plus yard pick 6 that I remember seeing. Really a good athlete. I think this guy could match up in those tight end heavy environments with Kansas City, with Baltimore, the Bills. You've got matchup nightmares, and I think he could do that from the linebacker spot. Round 3, pick 25, remembering that we traded our 27th pick. Round 3, pick 25, who did we take?
D lineman Aleem McNeil.
Defensive lineman Aleem McNeil from North Carolina State. Big body guy, eats up space. Again, if we can reach a deal with Larry Ogunjobi before the draft, I don't know that we need to take an interior defensive lineman. That would probably be a spot where I would then take a corner or take a corner in the second round if Kwity Paye magically falls to 26, right? Round 4 begins our run of 4 picks in round 4. Who did we take? Round 4, pick 5.
Safety Richard LeCounte III from Georgia.
Adding to the safety depth, I think we went value there. Knowing that we had 3 more picks in the 4th round, the corners that were there were pretty close. I mean, they weren't as high. So I think we went value. I don't know that who we're gonna re-sign. I doubt Sendejo. Hopefully Carl Joseph. Carl Joseph could come back, play that rover spot. You'll have Ronnie Harrison, Grant Delpit, assuming Grant comes back healthy. LeCounte would just add depth to that position and young and age, right? A younger guy. Round 4, pick 20.
We took corner Shamar John Charles from Appalachian State.
Shamar John Charles, corner. Good, solid value pick there in the 4th round. Again, looking to add that corner coverage depth. Again, we are linebacker centric, right? I think there's guys that may or may not come back, that may not be there. Malcolm Smith being one of them. There could be guys that don't come back, and we need that depth at linebacker. So round 4, pick 27, who did we take?
We took linebacker Monty Rice from Georgia.
Linebacker Monty Rice from Georgia. Another athletic linebacker guy, fits in with that Jacob Phillips, Mac Wilson, SEC athletic linebacker guy. I thought that was a good pick in that spot. The next pick, round 4, pick 29. Who you got?
Wide receiver Osiris Mitchell.
Osiris Mitchell from Mississippi State. I kind of I have to admit, I nudged him with this one. I pushed him with this one. I said, we got enough small guys. We got enough fast guys. I can always put JoJo Nats in, or one of those guys out there if I want them to just run a fly route and take the top off. What I don't have is big body. I don't have big body athletic, guys. So Osiris Mitchell comes in 6'4", almost 220, big body guy, big heavy guy, could do a lot of athletic things. Hopefully, if he runs for anybody and can run a low number, that could be a good pick right there, especially if you can get to a 4.4, maybe a 4.3, would be a great, DK Metcalf style, big athletic, fast guy that can hopefully take the top off. We have now our first pick in round 5, pick 13. Who we got?
Guard Tommy Kramer from Notre Dame.
Guard Tommy Kramer from Notre Dame. Knowing that we had 2 picks, we now had 13 and 25. Guard Tommy Kramer was right there, assuring some solidifying depth in there. Kramer's probably one of those guys that could play multiple positions, which would make him flexible. And coming from Notre Dame, good pro style scheme system, right? He would fit right in. Hopefully, we don't need that since we got 11 linemen. We probably won't want to take one in the draft, but he was there. So we make that pick. Our next pick in round 5, pick 25. Who do we got?
Corner Kerry Vincent Jr. from LSU.
Corner Kerry Vincent Jr., LSU. At that spot in the 5th round, probably a good pick. He can likely fill one of those slots, one of those nickel spots. Hopefully, again, we got to see what we get coming back with corner. Is Grady going to be healthy? Can we sign Terrence or Kevin Johnson or both or all 3? Right now, all we know is that Denzel Ward is there. The rest are a question mark. So Kerry Vincent could be one of those guys that we have to draft and just go young on the back end. We have one round 6 pick at 26. Grady, who did we take with the 26th pick?
No, this is a bit biased.
In round 6.
But we took fullback Ben Mason from Michigan.
So let's explain to the listeners and the viewers why we took Ben Mason at pick 26 in the 6th round. Here's why. Number 1, we had a lot of picks. We traded with Minnesota. We got three picks back. So we got 2 extra picks. Likely, if we were to do this again, we might add a corner in instead of the guard or a corner in instead of the linebacker. But we still would have had this pick open. One of the things that I know, and I know that obviously the game against Minnesota this past season, Ben Mason came out of the backfield, caught a pass, and ran some dudes over for a touchdown. He can catch the ball. I don't know that we've seen Andy Janovich do a lot of ball catching out of the backfield.
Yeah, we've mostly just seen Andy Janovich just blocking. He's never really done anything this year. We don't really go to the fullback, basically.
And so if we're not going to the fullback and he's blocking, the good thing about Ben Mason is
he's huge.
And he loves to hit people. Like
I've seen him pancake multiple dudes.
Like I don't care who it is.
Professional linebackers.
I don't care who it is. He likes to hit people. He enjoys it, actually, if you watch him. Not only that, dude would fill right in special teams. Played special teams, I think, all 4 years at Michigan. So he's definitely an all-around team guy. Can catch the ball from the fullback spot. Can run the ball from the fullback spot and block. I think that it was a good late value pick. Our final pick, round 7, pick 28. Who did we take?
Edge Patrick Johnson.
We took an edge rusher here, Patrick Johnson from Tulane. Basically, in round 7, you're looking at a list and going, yeah, I want that guy. He fills a spot. I don't know a lot about Patrick Johnson. I'd have to do some educating of myself on Patrick Johnson to figure out what it is that he is going to be good at or not good at.
Really just picked them up for depth in the edge rushing.
Sure, absolutely. Because again, you're uncertain. Are you going to help? Are you going to get help in free agency or you're not? Quiddy Pay is probably not going to be there pick 26. So you might have to do something different And it depends on how the draft flows. Every draft is different. Every draft goes a different way. Probably next Monday, we'll probably do another version of this. We'll wait for the Senior Bowl this weekend. Look at some guys on the Senior Bowl list, see how they kind of shake out, see if it changes anybody else's mocks and ratings of some of those guys, and go from there. But that's our New Breed mock draft version 1.0. Hopefully you enjoyed some of that, and hopefully we didn't sour too many grapes with you guys. And you can feel free to disagree with us. It's okay. We're not experts, obviously.
Clearly.
So kind of just let an open forum go. Is there anything you wanted to talk about tonight?
Andrew Berry was talking about Odell's recovery. He said that it's going very well, and he will be returning soon, hopefully. I mean, he's still got a lot of time to recover, but yeah, I really hope he's back for all of next season.
I would have to say that just kind of watching his workouts on Instagram, I mean, he is working hard, and I was watching him do the one leg box jump, right? He like hop up with his surgically repaired knee and then stand up on the box, and I'm like, that is insane, man, because like I couldn't do that on a good knee, let alone a surgically repaired one. But he's like stepping up on this thing and then standing up on one leg. I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy that he's already that far into this. He's an amazing athlete.
Yeah.
What else you got? What else you want to talk about?
I don't got much else.
So we want to hear from you. We're three episodes into this very young podcast, and Grady just turned 13 years old. So we've got a lot of learning to do. We've got a lot of planning to do. We got a lot of things to change. We want to make sure that we're bringing you kind of the best show that we can bring you. One of the ways you can help us is to make sure you get out, give us a review, and recommend us to your friends. Whether you're listening to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Pandora, wherever you find us, even on YouTube, if you're watching us, because we put the video together, it's all one thing. But give us a review, leave us a comment. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram. Those are coming up here at the end of the video. But yeah, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. Leave us messages. I would love to start doing like a mailbag, answering questions, kind of just from a fan's perspective. Not a genius. I'm not a sports writer. He's not a sports writer. It's just kind of what we think, what we're going through as a Browns fan. So feel free to tell us how we're doing, even if it's bad. Like, you guys are a bunch of hacks. This is silly because we'll have fun with it. We're not overly believing in ourselves at this point. I would love to maybe do a Browns fan of the week spotlight. Maybe on the Monday podcast, we bring a fan into our Zoom with us and have time together where we talk about their history as a fan, as a Browns fan, etc. And then maybe this summer, since we're going to be in draft mode and camp mode, maybe doing a player spotlight, player of the week on Saturdays. We'll talk about a player. Maybe we'll get lucky enough and the Cleveland Browns will find out about us and we can have one of the Browns players come on as a guest. That would be absolutely wonderful. Maybe. You name it, we'll work on it, and we'll try to bring it to you as best we can. I think that's kind of what we're here for, right? We're here to have fun, talk about the Browns, and basically just have a good time. I like, if you want more to listen to, Locked On Browns is a great podcast. Gotta love Dogs of War. Dogs of War is a good podcast. More fandom like us. But love those guys. Angry Browns fan on Instagram. If you want to follow him, it's worth the while. Absolutely posts a lot and is a true Browns fan. You got anything else tonight?
No.
I think that's going to wrap it up for episode 3. Evan, we did not say agua enough times for you, so please stop emailing us and stop coming over to the house. Guys, that's it. We're going to have to say goodbye. Thank you for listening to the New Breed Podcast. Still not barking.
Bye.